Always fun.
It really was.
All right, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the MMA Advocates. My name is Eddie Law. We got Jesse Ruvalcaba not in the Pokestop van, which is fucking amazing. All right, he's at home, of course, in California. Out of Dayton, Ohio, we got Fred Kirby, and from the ABQ, my boy Dave Rodriguez. Fellas, we were coming off a weekend where it was kind of a weird card. So we'll touch on that soon. But let's just go into what we were talking about even before we went live. The changes in MMA. Now, you know, Dave, you brought this up a little bit ago about Joe Silva's leaving end of the year, and we're already starting to see, even before he leaves, we're already starting to see a difference in the matchmaking that you know, the fights that are making. I mean, you know, Fred brought it up. Conor versus Nate, 1 and 2, but mostly 2, kind of are showing us a future of matchmaking in MMA, but in the UFC in particular. So, Dave, what do you think about this whole thing with Joe Silva leaving, and how do you think we'll see changes, or how soon?
Yeah, I think we're already starting to see a little bit of those. I mean, pretty much, I mean, everybody knows the Cowboy Lawler fight. That basically was Cowboy just self-booking him into that fight, and Robbie Lawler had to sign the contract. But that's a fight where it's pretty much, you know, throw the rankings out of the book. But then again, Cowboy's in the 170 division in the top 10 and in 155 in the top 10. So him and Anthony Pettis are kind of playing that same card where it opens up a lot of different matchups for them. So in that boat, I really like it. But just the matchmaking alone, like when it comes to title fights, we're going to see that take place probably after like November or so. But when you got CM Punk saying that the rankings don't matter, then that speaks volumes for what's going on in the MMA world. So, I mean, we're all going to see him make that walk on Saturday. I know we got a little bet on the line with the fellas here, but
yeah.
But hey, man, we're all going to see that change take place. I already kind of sort of see it already happening with somewhat of the card booked a little ways out, kind of ending at UFC New York at Madison Square Garden.
Yeah, and Fred, you were talking about, look, and this is a point I think all of us have made for a while now, is that the UFC does not give a rat's ass about rankings, but most of all, they don't care about us. The hardcore fans are no longer their target audience. They want the casuals. I call them the Bud Lights. I mean, the Bud Light, I'm sure it's a decent beer, whatever. But
the Dude Bros.
Yeah, the Dude Bros, the Bud Light fans. Those are the guys we're looking for, the casuals that show up to the bars, that are buying, that fucking tune in. I mean, fuck, I talk to people that don't know jack squat about boxing, MMA, any of that, and they knew about Diaz McGregor too. Like, they knew about it. Like, they were going to watch it too. So, I mean, Fred, you were talking about they don't really care about us, right? They just want the casuals.
Listen, man, 5 words, boys. Money talks and bullshit walks.
Yes, sir.
And I think that's going to be the new philosophy going forward. The company just got bought by basically the movie industry, man. These guys, their whole world revolves around money, and they realize that money fights is where it's at. The only reason that boxing even still has slight existence is because of the money fights. The Floyd Mayweathers, the Triple Gs.
True.
They book them fucking big money fights. They keep those stars, money stars, man, and that's what drives their sport. I think that's what's going to slowly happen. And listen, you want to know when it's going to happen? It's fucking happening. Mm-hmm. Conor McGregor flat got the rematch with Nate Diaz, and people like to say, oh, well, they've been to Conor. They do what Conor wants. Man, they don't give a fuck what Conor wants. The thing is, what Conor wants coincides with them making money. So that shit goes hand in hand. They're like, all right, well, cool. Yep. We'll book the rematch because that's going to fucking sell and do real big numbers. At the end of the day, they're not worried about appeasing fucking Conor. They're worried about making money. And they're already doing it, man. Look at CM Punk. He's already there. On a relatively weak card in, God bless my fucking home state, Cleveland, Ohio. Mm-hmm. I already hear the fucking MMA journalists making jokes about it. You're going to Cleveland to cover fucking 203? And everybody's fucking keeping their hands down. Nobody wants to go cover this fucking card. Nobody's fucking clamoring to go to Cleveland. But they put CM Punk on there, and they're guaranteed to do an extra fucking probably 100,000 pay-per-view buys just because of his name. Yep. So, yeah, to answer your question, the hardcore fans are going to become less important because guess what? We're already addicted.
Yeah.
We be smoking that crack, Jack. They're not worried about us. They're worried about the new fans, man. We're going to tune in regardless. Of course, we'll piss and moan, and we'll talk about the good old days when guys rightfully got title shots and you had the blase. But we're all going to always tune in. You know, they already got us, man. So they're going to start catering to more of a poppy type vibe and book the fights that the Dude Bros want to see.
No, exactly. And Andrew Reese saying on YouTube saying Silva has had no say in main cards for ages. He only deals with undercards, and that's a pretty good point right there. It seems like he's on point with that because Dana and the rest want to make the money fights and everything. Or they might force them to make those matchups. And then Kasim says, I hope the new owners give us Silver versus GSP and Cruz versus Mighty Mouse, which I would not hate seeing. But that's kind of the point right there, right? People will tune in and watch those fights.
Okay. Hold on, let me pose a question to you guys. Okay, so I think we're all kind of in agreement that this is kind of the way that the UFC and MMA in general is going to go. Now, is it a good thing or a bad thing? Quite frankly, I fucking love it.
Yeah.
I can't stand them boring ass fights just because you beat enough people to get there. Fuck you, Jake Shields. You're boring. I don't care how many fights you win. You ain't taking no main events, Jack. You better start strangling people or fuck it. I kind of like the idea of these exciting fights, these money fights. Fuck. That's what we all tune in for. Fucking exciting fights, man.
And look, they're talking about Diaz-McGregor 2 broke pay-per-view records. I mean, that's what they're looking for. But you're right. Who doesn't want to see? I mean, I'd be down for a Silver GSP. Just because we should have seen it a long time ago, I'd be down to see it now. I'd be down to see Cruz's Mighty Mouse now. It'd be legit.
Fuck yeah.
You know what I mean? So as much as I would love to go sit here and be like, no, it needs to be old school. You should deserve title shots. Frankly, I enjoyed Diaz-McGregor too. And
Exactly.
And you know what I'm going to enjoy in New York? A fight that has no business being done because it's two guys in different weight classes. Robbie Lawler versus Cowboy Cerrone. I'm going to fucking love watching that shit. You know what I mean? We're turning into boxing slowly, in my opinion.
Yeah.
The way they make matches in boxing, it's zero to do with rankings. It's all to do with what have you done for me lately. Because if you've done something for me lately, it's because you get me money. What do you think about that, Jesse?
I sort of agree with you, and I sort of don't. I still think that they're going to have to cater enough to the hardcores that they're going to have to still put on relevant fights. But I think they're still catering to our inner, I guess, our inner child, our inner UFC 1 fan, when they put on these exciting fights, like the one you just mentioned, the Lawler-Cowboy fight. I mean, if you can't get up for that fight, you're not a fight fan, honestly. I mean, that's a fight that's just guaranteed to just, produce fireworks. But I also think that they're not just going to run with it. We're not going to see like the boxing model where it's just you're paying for the top fight and, it be damned the rest of the card. I mean, because you look at what most people do. They still like to watch, the prelims, and some of those prelims are still pretty exciting. And think about it, the UFC is still trying to build their UFC Fight Pass brand, and they're still trying to put good fights on, the prelims on Fox Sports 1. Every once in a while it gets relegated to Fox Sports 2. So I think at least in that sense we're not going to turn into boxing where nobody cares about who's fighting on the undercard, right? I mean, right. I think Triple G is fighting this weekend. Can you name me any other fight on that card?
Nope.
No.
Exactly. At least we can talk about a couple of the fights that are happening just off the top of our heads, and a couple of fighters, because we've kind of seen them go up and we've seen them kind of become superstars, in their own right. I mean, Uriah Faber, he's a superstar, and he's still, chugging along here, and he's still gonna, be in a fight where at least we know, hey, it's Uriah Faber, California kid in Ohio. He's probably gonna get jumped or something out there, but it's at least it's one of those things where at least we still know the bottom guys. And to that point, I think that's the thing we're going to miss the most about Joe Silva being not the matchmaker anymore. I mean, the structure of these cards have been really, really good. And I think probably whatever hasn't been laid out yet is probably going to start suffering. I just don't think that Sean Shelby or anybody else that they might bring in is going to have that knowledge and that just, wizardry of being able to match these people up, even though they're nobodies, and they still are, competitive against each other. I mean, it's very rare that you see a squash match at this point, even at this level. I mean, the only squash match I can think of that's coming up is probably the CM Punk Mickey Gall fight.
That's on pay-per-view.
Just because, and yeah, it's one of those things where the big bosses decided that's going to be.
Fuck a Mickey Gall. How does Mickey Gall become a squash match? Because he whooped the yoga instructor? Kiss my ass.
Yeah, I mean, going along with you guys, I mean, I have to agree with Jesse and Fred a bit. I mean, I kind of see, like, I love that Fred brought that up on the previous episode that, we sort of could be leading towards the boxing realm where it's, a few superstars, the big money guys. But where I like it, where the transition period works for me, and I know everybody's going to like it, is just the fighter pay alone. I read an article about Ashley Evans Smith. Her talking about, just the year from now, how much change will happen in MMA and how much fighters will have more control, and they'll honestly be paid a whole lot more. So in that aspect, I love it, and I think it'll probably around that time period where we'll see sort of like the undercard matchups sort of dipping off and not as structured and as good as Joe Silva. Because if you guys didn't know, Joe Silva, I mean, the guy does his job so well that they allow him to live in Virginia when everybody else is based in Las Vegas. So
that's weird as fuck, right?
So Joe Silva predates all the top guys. He's been around forever. He's a boss. So we're definitely going to feel that effect with him, like I said, around the New Year's time. But then again, I think it's going to be not something that's going to come real soon, but there's still going to be well-built cards from top to bottom. I think a lot of the last few cards that we've had haven't been the best, but I mean, we're coming off of Hamburg, so kind of a lot of those fights did make sense ranking-wise. So I think going forward, we're still going to see some exciting matchups to the end of the year. But as we all know, the hardcores are going to critique each and every fight, and we're going to call it out when we see it. So when that time comes, we'll definitely make that call as well.
Here's a funny one. Kasim says Mouse versus the winner of this season of Tough is a squash match.
I don't think so, man.
It depends on who comes out. I mean, if it's true that, what's his name? What was the rumor or the spoiler?
Tim Elliott.
Tim Elliott wins it? Yeah.
You look at the guys that are in that season.
You didn't know?
That better not be true.
I hope it's not true, but who knows?
I mean, you have some really, really good guys. I mean, Damasio Page, Tim Elliott, who was in the UFC, even though he got anaconda death choked by Benavidez, right, where he had to tap with his feet. Wasn't that him?
Was. Highlight and put that shit in capital letters. He was in the UFC. I used to be in 6th grade. What the fuck? What kind of shit used to be? No, listen, if any of these cats were that good, wouldn't they already be in the UFC? I mean, I hate to be Captain Obvious here. They make this big deal about these being champions from other organizations. Yeah, man. Fucking shitbird organizations. The fuck? All due respect to RFA and Jungle Fight, they are feeder leagues, man.
No, it's true.
Yeah, but I mean, you also have to think how many of those guys were gonna make the move anyway. Eventually these guys get their eyes on them and have good enough fights that you have to know that Joe Silva probably had them in the sight, and he's like, yeah, let them get 1 or 2 more fights.
Listen, that's right, true. And how many of you little fucking pricks would get your panties wet as a motherfucker if Joe Silva brought in some cat that ain't nobody heard of and said, yeah, we're going to give him a shot at fucking Mighty Mouse right through the gate because he used to be the champion of fucking Timbuktu and fucking goddamn it, wherever the fuck, Tasmania.
Can I see that fight now?
Jesus would be the first one going, well, he don't deserve it. He less deserve it. Get the fuck out of here.
Oh, shit.
Listen, it's a cool theme, and I heard that the first episode was really good.
Yeah.
The fights will probably be great because the level of talent on this show is probably better than the goddamn wasteful last 4 or 5 seasons we've had.
Yeah.
But do I think one of these guys are going to beat Mighty Mouse? I highly doubt it. Now, listen, could it happen? Sure. I mean, the little Russian prick could have caught Mighty Mouse. He didn't, but he could have. Ali Bagatinov. You know what I'm saying? Like, anybody could catch Mighty Mouse. What the fuck? There was a time when Matt the Terracera knocked out GSP. Anything's fucking possible. But more than likely, Mighty Mouse destroys whoever comes off that fucking show and any other human that dare make 125 pounds.
Yeah, I agree to that.
I think Cruz beats him. Best of me.
I don't think so. I think at this point,
not at 125.
No, not at 125. No, not at 125.
Analyze his last fight. Cruz's last fight against who was it? Faber, right?
You're right.
He was a step slower. His what was it? His Achilles or whatever that he has busted. Yeah, his tendon or whatever. He's not the same guy that went up against Mighty Mouse back then. And I think Mighty Mouse has greatly improved since then.
Cruz has had more injuries than Evel Knievel.
Yeah, and that fucker holds a record. Andrew, Andrew wants to know. He says, "Does Fred know where Tasmania is?"
Of course, I don't know where the fuck Tasmania is. That was my point. They go find these obscure ass champions, and this is fucking Ali Bagatinov. from the nether regions or wherever the fuck.
All right, so let's just very quickly touch on this last weekend. There was literally one highlight to the entire night. Ryan Bader lands a solid knee. It's supposed to be a kick, but it lands a solid knee on Latifi's chin, knocks him dead. Walk off, knockout. Dave, what'd you think of that?
Yeah, let's go to Dave. Dave was hammering for Latifi to get a title shot.
Yeah, I know.
Man, Dave, I guess he made a bad call calling out Ryan Bader. Bader said he's going to make him pay for that. So, I mean, man, did he make him pay? I mean, the fucking guy almost did a backflip, you know what I mean, in the octagon. So, never seen anything like that. But, hey, Ryan Bader, that was a fight where, you know, it could have gone either way. But Ryan Bader showcased that he had a better skill set. He had more power in his hands. Latifi, he knew what he needed to do to avoid his power. He caught him. I mean, on that card, that's like you said, Eddie, that's the highlight of the card, minus the main event. I thought the main event delivered somewhat. But then again, those type of weight classes, I mean, you add in the Alexander Gustafsson fight. I mean, that's not the same Alexander Gustafsson that fought that night. So, but
where's English at? I know he's going to say something about that.
He's coming. Don't worry. Just give him a minute. All right, we're on delay. We're like in a minute delay or so.
He's
in
typing
about 5
so
minutes
fast right now.
He's freaking the fuck out in about 5 minutes. All right, sorry, Dave. Continue.
No, because nobody's seen Jan Blachowicz go in there and be competitive against Gustav. You know what I mean? Like, people are talking, you know, Alexander Gustafsson and John Jones at this point. Like, no way in hell that fight happens. But then again, somebody's going to have to fight John Jones. I mean, there's rumors of the DC and Anthony Johnson getting added to the Madison Square Garden card. So, but yeah, just those two fights at the top, the Gustav fight really surprised me, just how he showed up, what he looked like in there. He just didn't look like the same guy. Bader's going to have a big-time fight lined up next, probably with Gustafsson or Nikita Krylov or whoever they match him up with. But, yeah, I didn't ever see Ilir Latifi getting backflipped by a knee in the cage. But, man, was that impressive, though, man.
It was pretty crazy. So what do you think, Fred? Bader versus Gustafsson?
Listen, you know a card was fucking atrocious when Ryan Darth Bader gives us our highlight knockout of the fucking night.
Yeah.
You know a card was slow when Ryan Bader gives us our highlight of the night, man. Look, man, Ilir Latifi is basically like the poor man's Ryan Bader, right? They do the same exact thing, basically, except Ryan Bader's just a little better. So this fight pretty much went exactly how I expected it to. And, you know, listen, as far as fucking Gustafsson goes, I wouldn't get so, you know, like saying that, oh, well, the John Jones fight's out of fucking realm of possibility now. Listen, John Jones didn't look like fucking mint condition against OSP either. So,
oh, yeah, it's been plenty of months since he's been in there, too, so factor that in as well.
Right. You know, Gustafsson didn't look great, and as much as I would love to ram it in English's asshole and say he fought like a fucking pussy, I won't do that. Listen, he hadn't fought in a long time. He's coming off a fucking L. He had to do what he had to do to win. He's a fucking well-rounded fighter. I still think Gustafsson's a bad motherfucker. I wouldn't let this fucking worry me too much as far as Gustafsson goes. I think he'll be fine in his next fight. The main event, I'll say this. Listen, are we over Andre at this point?
I'm over it.
Definitely, yeah, hell yeah.
Please.
Yeah,
Please.
I love Andre Arlovsky.
Yeah, a friend of mine met him recently too, like a couple of weeks ago. Like a friend of mine, a couple of my family members and people, like they want to meet some fighters. They happen to run into Andre Arlovsky, and he acted like a total fucking prick to them. So it's like he thinks he's Floyd Mayweather and shit, you know what I mean? But he's over there getting his ass handed to him by Barnett. So yeah, I'm pretty much done with Arlovsky, and I seen that fight going exactly the way it did. I just thought that Barnett would have cracked him a little bit early and put him out.
And look, the first 30 seconds of that fight was legit, right? They knocked each other fucking silly for the first 30, 45 seconds or so. And then after that, it was just Barnett basically handling business, right?
I think Arlovsky's done what he's going to do. Not to be a dick or nothing, but I think that little 4-fight win streak, that was it, Jack. That was the last call for alcohol for Arlovsky.
The Ream ended it for him.
I suppose he could always go to Bellator and get paid, right? At this point in the game.
And win a lot.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, that's what I would do. Why not, man? I mean, fuck it. Go to Bellator, make some. If he chooses to continue fighting, I do not think that he's UFC caliber no more.
No way.
You know.
You know what?
So-
You know what though? On that point, Fred, I think what's best for somebody like him, he needs to get on some Mexican supplements and then go to Risen.
Mm.
That seems to me like a lot of these fighters are going to end up heading, just lax drug testing, and they could probably make good money
Yeah.
over there. You know,
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
honestly, I mean, Bellator, I don't think is going to be that saving grace for a lot of fighters anymore. I think they're looking for just big headlining names that they can kind of build their stars off of. And I think I'd prefer him to just go to Japan and kind of get that glory from, Pride again and just kind of, live out whatever he has left.
I will say I do miss that in the MMA landscape. We need some good MMA. We need a good fucking Japanese MMA organization to give us those freak show fights. And yeah, I completely agree with you, actually, man. I think Arlovsky be a great fit over there. Let him go fight Fedor or something, man.
Yeah.
The Asians know how to have fun with MMA. They really do, man. It's not as fucking – they put on goofy fights, but they make them entertaining and fun and shit, man. I'd like to see Ryzen do good, for real. Like, I'd rather see Ryzen than goddamn it WSOF with fucking – what the fuck is it? Fucking Jake Shields and goddamn it, John Fitch stinking up the fucking place. Yeah, give me some freak show shit.
Same night as UFC 205, mind you. Okay, why? I don't fucking know.
Some kind of balls on them.
Me and Eddie were saying. Me and Eddie were both saying like they either really hate money and ratings or they really hate their viewers. Because man, that's the worst of everything. Like I mean, the matchup to me might be interesting. I mean, to me. I think maybe even to Eddie, maybe a little bit, like kind of the ground jiu-jitsu and stuff. But honestly, on a night where UFC is going to be in New York and going to have a really banger of a card, I mean, that's atrocious.
That's a funny thing because we were talking about, like, I bet, like, the guys at War Series fighting were like, dude, fucking UFC's going to New York. It's UFC 205. How do we battle this? I fucking got it, dude. Jake fucking Shields against John fucking Fitch. It's going to blow them out. No one's going to buy the pay-per-view. No one's going to pay-per-view for UFC. They're all going to tune in our shit. Yeah, okay, dude, that's gonna work. God damn it.
Listen. I'm a hardcore fan of this sport, and I ain't DVRing that shit, Jack. I'm reading the result on Twitter. I'm not even wasting the space on my DVR.
Give me Shields. Shields Fitch at EBI when it's a legitimate just ground game. That's it. Give me that. But I don't want to see him fighting at all. All right.
There you go.
Listen, you don't take two boring fighters and make them fucking interesting together. Take those two dudes and let them teach jiu-jitsu to children in goddamn Bangkok.
Why not? I mean, fuck. Anyway, a couple comments here on the YouTube. Andrew Reed says, Gus won, shut up. And then,
oh, God.
Oh, check it out.
Good.
Our boy Fang says, Eddie, tell Jesse he doesn't know anything. Just look at his fantasy football team. For those that don't know, Jesse picked almost exclusively LA Rams players, so he's fucked.
That's right.
Especially week 8. Then Kasim says Gus. Then Kasim says Gus versus Ryan Bader, and Andrew Reed says Arlovsky versus Sapp at Ryzen, because I can see that happening. But here's the thing: as long as Ryzen's on this whole "let's get Fedor fucking killed" tour by just throwing everybody at him at once, send him Arlovsky. I mean, that'd be the move, because they're talking about what are they talking about now? Crow Cop against Fedor? Fuck that shit.
Crow Cop. Did you see who they have for Gabby Garcia next?
A dude.
Some football player lady?
Wasn't Tito Ortiz was trying to call up for a Fedor fight as well too. Is that right?
Tito needs to stop. All right. By the way, I saw he was partying in Vegas with Nick Diaz for like a week. This whole last week he was partying with Nick Diaz in Vegas. All right. Why his giant head was in Vegas, I don't fucking know. But for sure, stop talking about fighting anybody that matters. Fedor doesn't even matter anymore. But doing that kind of shit it's not gonna work, dude. Just stop. Go take care of your fucking back. Anyway. Kasim says maybe two's counting on newbies. Oh wait, I'm sorry. Go ahead. What were you saying?
No, to add to that Arlovsky thing, it's kind of weird how just this week, how Jackson Wink Academy has this wall of fame, everybody who's a Jackson Wink fighter. They recently added Alistair Overeem, so previous to this title bout, he wasn't on the wall of fame. It was Arlovsky, it was the whole crew, Condit, you name them. So it's really interesting that when those two fought each other, that Greg Jackson and Winklejohn sided with Arlovsky, of course. And now this time around, it's basically, it's all about the Reem. The Reem is about to bring the heavyweight title back to Jackson Wink. So I thought that's sort of, you know what I mean? Because Arlovsky, he's been here a lot longer than Alistair, but hey, Alistair brings the gold back to Jackson Week, and he's on the Wall of Fame all of a sudden. So because Alistair does his own thing. Like Alistair doesn't he doesn't train. He's not with the same people as Carlos and John Jones and a lot of the training partners. Yeah. He has his own crew, and I give much respect to Alistair because he's kept it low key. He said that he's just been super hungry. He doesn't do the stupid shit that you see John Jones getting involved in Albuquerque. He just lays low. He's been focused on getting into Cleveland and taking that belt. So much respect to Alistair Overeem because that motherfucker is ready for this fight Saturday. So keep that in mind. Orlovsky got shut down by a guy in his own gym. So let's keep that in mind.
I'll tell you what. He might want to start taking a fucking page out of John Jones's book and start snorting, blowing fucking white frauds. Because last I checked, John Jones is undefeated, and goddamn fucking Overeem has been a bust of epic proportions.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. Jesse, you gonna say something?
No. I'm trying to ask Dave over there. Oh. You know the Jackson Winklejohn connection over there. So what do you think? Do you think Overeem's gonna win this fight, or what do you think?
I like his interview that it was just today when they talked to him. He made a real good point about he was pointing out that we've seen a lot of champions do this. They become a champion, they're partying, they're doing the media tour, they're on shows. He said that Stipe is a little bit too much. He's celebrating a little bit too much and not focused. He said he's seen him in Vegas at numerous parties. Alistair said he'd go straight to his room, straight to training. So I give much respect, and I think Alistair is dialed in. I mean, it's pretty much his last chance. He's 36 years old. If he wants to be the most decorated heavyweight there ever is, he's got to show up in Cleveland this Saturday. So I think the Reem is in the best. Like he's a thinking Reem now. So he's a super smart fighter, and from what I've seen in the gym, he's got all it takes to take out Stipe, and it's in his backyard. So Stipe's got that bad luck, somewhat hometown curse that we've talked about before. So in my opinion, Jesse, I think Alistair's more than prepared. I think if Stipe is just not on his game, he's going to lose the belt in his hometown. Absolutely.
And the last two guys have lost their belt in their hometown, Kane in Mexico and Verdum in Brazil. So that's why I was like, immediately when they said this fight's in Cleveland, I'm like, Steve was fucked. God damn it. But regardless, fuck it. We're talking about that card already. Let's talk about the card, at least the main card, some of the big fights on the card here. Fuck it, Faber Rivera. There's a lot of talk right now. Not a lot of talk like serious things, but like people talking about the fact that Faber could retire after this fight at UFC 203. I hope he does because I'm sick of his shit. But that's just me. But Dave, what do you think about that, man? You think if he loses to Rivera, or even if he wins, do you think this is it for the California used to be a kid?
Yeah, it very well could be. I mean, Uriah, much respect to the guy. I mean, he's fought the top competition for numerous years. He's kind of like, what do they call him? The Jim Kelly of MMA, or what do they call him? You know what I mean? Because the guy's been to he had multiple world title fights. He's always fought the best. I think in his interview earlier today, he said that a lot of guys were ducking Rivera, that nobody wanted to step up, that he's a known tough bastard. So Uriah's never turned down a fight, so much respect to him for that. If Jimmy Rivera puts him away, I think we'll probably see the last of Uriah, and it's a super tough fight. I mean, I'm going with Jimmy Rivera, but I think Uriah is the favorite at this point right now. I'm not too sure.
Yeah, pretty sure.
But then again, he's just by experience alone. But Jimmy Rivera's got an excellent track record. He can finish Faber. There's multiple ways for him to win the fight. Faber didn't look that great against Dominic, and if he really got up for Dominic like he normally does, that didn't look that wasn't too impressive there. I think Jimmy Rivera with the win over Faber, that propels him to that next level in that division, definitely. Yeah,
and real quick to clear up what was the comparison you said? Jimmy what?
Jim Kelly of MMA.
Jim Kelly. Right, so Jim Kelly was former Miami Hurricane quarterback of the Bills. Bills went to the Super Bowl 4 times. Lost every single one. He went to the title 4 times, lost every single one. Faber, plenty of title shots, lost every single one. Okay, so that's what the comparison is for anyone that doesn't know.
Hey, he didn't lose every single one, you pricks.
Oh, he's been UFC champ?
Not the UFC, but he was the
WBC
then.
champ. I talk about UFC.
Whoa, Herb Dean stopped that one fight too early, man. He gave the thumbs up. He was good.
Oh, get the fuck out! Of course he gave a thumbs up. His thumb just immediately goes like that. Andrew Reed on YouTube says, I hope Stipe is not stupid to stand and box with Overeem. Or Kasim said that. Kasim says, I hope Stipe is not stupid enough to stand and box with Reem. Andrew Reed says, overoids via elbow TKO over Stipe. Fang says, I'm going to believe in Miocic. I don't like Reem. And Andrew Reed says, another loss with the alpha midgets. And I agree with that. I'm taking Red Bear as well. But yeah, I don't know if he retires. I think he will retire if he loses. If he wins, he's just going to delusion his way into another big. Now the big fight or big ish fight, one of the big fights, the one that most people are talking about because they don't know what to think about of it is CM Punk versus Mickey Gall. CM Punk. Well, I mean, a lot of people are talking about it, but no one's really sure what to think of it, right? Even I don't know what to think of it. To me, like, part of me thinks it's a joke, and then the other part thinks maybe we'll see CM Punk actually bring something to the cage, or is Mickey Gall overblown? You know what I mean? It's a really weird fight. But here, let's kick off with Fred, man. What do you think about this fight?
I think you're an asshole. What do you mean a fucking?
That's fair.
What do you mean a joke? Listen. All bullshit aside, I don't really get the criticism that CM Punk gets. I mean, the dude gave up millions of dollars to fucking chase a dream. It's not his fucking problem that his celebrity, huh?
No, go ahead. Finish what you're saying, and I'll tell you. Go ahead.
No, get to your fucking point. What are you shaking your fucking head
about? Jesse, go ahead. I know, and Jesse knows what I'm talking about. Go.
He didn't give up millions of dollars. He got fired.
Yeah.
He got fired.
Okay, whatever. Do you fucking think that he couldn't have went to some other fucking wrestling organization and still made good money doing fake
Which
shit?
one?
Man,
name one.
Listen, TNA, whatever the fuck. I don't know.
TNA's under, man.
Okay.
They went under. They can't afford nothing.
The point is, he didn't have to come fucking fight. That's for sure. He could have fucking went around the malls making appearances playing goddamn Batman and Robin and made fucking more money than this shit. He didn't have to join the UFC. That's for fucking sure.
That's true. That's true. Go ahead.
He didn't have to do this, man. Listen, I don't know whether this dude can fight or not. What I do know is that he spent fucking a year and a half over Duke fucking Rufus's gym.
Yeah.
Treated like everybody else, supposedly, for all intents and purposes. Duke Rufus and Anthony Pettis, all the guys say that he comes in early, he wipes the mats, he trains hard, he doesn't got no fucking ego or complex. So, fuck it. I ain't gonna hate on the fucking dude prematurely and be like, he doesn't deserve to be in our sport. MMA fans are a bunch of cunts, to be truthful. A bunch of sourpuss cunts. We don't like him here. Man, he's fighting. Kiss his ass, Jack. And everybody's got this fucking Mickey Gall. Mickey Gall's gonna kill him. And Mickey Gall. Man, fuck a Mickey Gall.
Hey, look,
Mickey Gall's 2-0.
For the record, I think this whole Mickey Gall thing is way overblown. All right, they're talking about him like he's a world killer. He's not.
Well,
you know what I mean,
listen, he may even fucking be, but what he is right now is a fucking 2-0 fighter that doesn't have a world of experience. Fighting a quote unquote celebrity who's deciding to make this journey. I think this fucking shit is interesting, man. Do I expect to see fucking Forrest Griffin, Stephan Bonner 1? No, I surely do not. But do I think that it will be satisfying? I do. I don't know whether CM Punk will lose. I hope he doesn't because my fucking beard is beautiful and I surely do not want to shave it.
Yeah.
But I do think that I don't think the fight will be boring. I think that CM Punk's going to bring it. I think that Mickey Gall will bring it. I think that both of them are going to want to win this fight because it's really important for both of them. And I think it'll be a fun fight. Quite frankly, I think somebody will get finished.
Look, I wouldn't mind if it was a great fight. I would love to be surprised. I would love to be very surprised and have it be like an insane fight, right? And look, I give CM Punk credit for actually putting in the work. Like from like you said, everyone's been saying he's been working hard and all this other stuff, taking it seriously. From the what do they call it? The evolution of Punk or whatever. It seems like he's taking it serious and he's actually fucking trying to win this fight. And if he does, great. Look, I'll give him credit. If he does, fucking great. You know what I mean? Yeah. My whole thing is he seems to have been brought in specifically just for pay-per-view buys, and that's part of what we're talking about with the change of how MMA is going to be, run these days, or the UFC is going to be run these days. Fuck the rankings. Whoever's gonna bring us the most eyes to the fucking pay-per-view, boom, bring him in, and that's the new way the sport's going to be run.
Hey, it is what it is, Jack. Herschel Walker and shit. Yeah. Like, if you got the balls to come fight and you happen to be a celebrity, it's fucking intriguing, man.
Shit, we got Sean Merriman signed to Bellator these days, so you know what I mean. We got football.
Sean Merriman signed to Bellator?
Yeah, he's actually signed to Bellator and has a fight coming up, I think. I don't
Get
know
the fuck out!
Lights
out! Wait! Defensive end for the Chargers, Sean Merriman?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that guy. Yeah.
Have you seen his Instagram videos where he's hitting the bag? God awful. Holy shit.
Because before I missed my point, though, I was going to mention you guys are talking, you guys talking Duke Rufus and him training CM Punk. I read an article and where I guess I didn't see it like earlier this week, I think it surfaced. He went about saying that if Anthony Pettis would have lost that fight, that he would have stopped coaching. I mean, I don't understand. Like, what's up with these coaches nowadays? You got John Kavanaugh saying his legacy is on the line with Connor's fight, and Duke Rufus is going to quit coaching. I don't like to hear that, but what I do like about CM Punk is I think he's himself. I hear a lot of his interviews. I hear everything he's talking, and he seems authentic. He's just doing his thing. He's not letting the internet shit get to him. He's kind of just, he dedicated 2 years of his life for this moment. So I want to see the guy go in there and bring all he got because, like Fred said, who the fuck is Mickey Gall? He's not a world beater. I think CM's got a chance. It's just a weird fight. Nobody really knows what to say. Like, hey, Mickey's going to do this, CM's going to do that. I think in the moment, I think CM Punk's going to be comfortable, and I think he's going to surprise some motherfuckers. And I think Mickey Gall, he better be on his game because he can lose that fight. And I mean, shit, at 170 pounds, I mean, who do you line these guys up with, win or lose, or is it a one and done for either or? That's what the next question I wanted to bring up.
Yeah, it's very positive. Let me get through some YouTube comments here. A lot of people are picking Punk, to be honest with you. Kasim says Punk by Anaconda Vice. Andrew Reed says Punk is going to win. Fang agrees, Punk. Mike Jar says CM Punk by GTS. What's GTS? Anyone know?
I think that was his finishing move in WWE.
How does it work?
What is it? I think it's like he puts you in like a fireman's carry.
Okay.
And then he throws you over, I think, or something. And somehow he knees you in the face. I forget how it goes.
Okay.
You got to look it up. It's retarded.
I'm going to have to. Fang says, talking about Impact Wrestling and Ring of Honor. Kasim says, Punk didn't get fired. He quit WWE. He walked out in Cleveland show. Well, that's interesting. He's fighting in Cleveland.
Not ironic.
Yeah, ironic as fuck. He walked out on the show due to a bunch of backstage issues and lack of rest when they gave rest days to people who have been around for so it's one of those, like, you didn't treat me fair type of things. It seems like it.
Man, he
said
walked out on the show because he looked at his
What?
He looked at his bank account and he confused it with his phone number and said, check it out, I'm done.
That's the funny thing. Once you get like fuck you money, you're like you have people lie. Everyone lies. Oh, if I won the lottery, I keep going to work.
For real.
Yeah. The second you had one fucking problem, you look at your bank account like fuck this, you out. So he didn't need to fucking wrestle anymore. But regardless, CM Punk, Mickey Gall. Let's all make picks here. I'm taking Gall by decision, and by decision, I don't think anyone's gonna get finished. I'm taking Gall decision. Dave, who you got?
I got to go with CM Punk here. I think he's going to pull it off. I think he's just going to surprise people. I mean, he dedicated 2 years to this. Like I said, I really want to see him do well, but everybody's just counting him out and talking shit nowadays. Now leading up to the fight, everybody's, sort of jumping on the bandwagon. But I think just enough time dedicated. I think he'll go in there and he'll be cool. He's been in those big crowds, and I think he'll be comfortable in there. But once he gets cracked and Mickey Gall can crack him and put him down and then choke him out, believe that's going to fucking happen for sure. But I think CM Punk, he shows up pretty tough in there. Very unexpectedly tougher than you think, I think.
All right, Fred, who you picking? I mean, we already know, but go ahead.
Listen. Not only am I picking CM Punk, but I'm going to take it a step further. And I'm going to say that if you are picking Mickey Gall to win this fight, or furthermore, if you want Mickey Gall to win this fight, you're not a real fan of MMA. That's right. I said it. And I'll tell you why. If Mickey Gall wins this fight, what the fuck do we got going forward except for Mickey fucking Gall, who will probably end up being a fucking B-level fighter at best. He gives us no more excitement going forward. If Mickey Gall wins, who really cares about his next fight? Fucking nobody. Everybody will go, yeah. Well, exactly. Everybody will go, he beat the guy that couldn't fight anyway. Now, if CM Punk comes in and pulls off a fucking anaconda choke or a slick little triangle, well, then we all got a bunch of shit to talk about. We all got a bunch of shit to think about. Who's he going to fight next or the fucking like? It keeps shit interesting. Fuck a Mickey Gall. Let's hope Mickey Gall gets beat, and we get to keep this fucking excitement train rolling, man.
And you get to keep it beard.
Fucking CM Punk.
Look, for the record, I'm not hoping that Mickey Gall wins. I'm picking Mickey Gall to win. But like I said, I hope CM Punk shows up. If he shows up and fights legit, I agree with you, Fred. We actually have something to fucking talk about. Because you're right. If Gall wins, now what? That's it. He stays in the undercard. He's not fucking main event in anything.
Listen. If Mickey Gall wins, the story ends.
Yep.
If the story's over, Mickey Gall will just be the dude. But if Mickey Gall loses and CM Punk wins, then the story's just beginning. You know, then it's like, oh shit, now maybe he can fight. Blase, blase, blase. So I hope he wins.
Jesse, who you picking?
You already know. I mean, why do I even have to say anything? But you know what? Ain't this about a bitch? When we first started talking about CM Punk, I was the one defending him, and you guys were the one crapping on him. Go back a couple episodes. You guys will remember that. Yeah, okay. I still believe that CM Punk is doing this for the right reasons. I agree with Fred. He came into the sport with the utmost respect, and I just don't understand why people are crapping on him so much, him personally. Now, take that out of the equation, and his skills that we have seen just do not match up to the level that Mickey Gall has been at. Like I said, yeah, he said he's fought in big crowds. That's nothing because he already knew the outcome of those fights, quote-unquote fights. So I think it's going to be a totally different beast for him. I think he's going to have to rise to this occasion. And being he's 36 or something like that. Mm-hmm. Being that age, man, I don't know. I mean, okay, so you guys saying he's been 2 years training with Duke Rufus? Not true, because he's had to take time off for 2 surgeries or 2 injuries that he suffered. So at the very most, he's had at least about a year probably of training, of hard training.
Yeah.
Okay? So cut that down. Now think about that. A guy that has no athletic experience in a martial art is going to try to fight and learn all the martial arts in 1 year. I don't know, man. That's a tough ask. I agree with you guys. It'd be interesting if he does win. But can he do it with the amount of time that he's been given, the body and the shape that he's in, and everything that he's had to go through? I mean, if he wins, man, I'll shave this little mustache right here gladly on this show, because he'll have proven something that is missing. He'll have proven that a guy with no skill can step into the octagon on a pay-per-view, on a big show, and perform. And that's going to be tough.
And still win with heart. I mean, that's what he's going to need. If you come in like that, you're going to need a lot of heart to fucking win a fight like this.
Okay, listen, two things quickly before we wrap this up. 2 things. A, hasn't Punk been doing jiu-jitsu for a while, though? I mean,
on and off. It was very on and off, like light. Nothing nothing continuous. And
I had a better belt than he did.
B, now, is it just me, or does Punk look like the most out-of-shape wrestler ever?
He does. He really does.
Like,
he's
flabby, right?
Yeah,
but he never was that guy.
You think he misses weight? You guys think there's a chance he actually fucking misses weight, or you think he's spot on the scale? What do you guys think?
No. He's gonna make weight.
Yeah, I think he'll make weight. Coming from the WWF, most of those guys are fucking built like goddamn it brick shithouses. I see Punk and I'm like, looks like my fucking drunk uncle at a fucking backyard barbecue.
I'll tell you what, you know what got Punk to the level of stardom that he was in the WWE? It's his work ethic. Oh. No, his work ethic. He grinded away, and he learned everything he had to learn, and he did everything he had to do for that company to be a star. That work ethic is the only thing, in my opinion, that is his saving grace in this fight. Because at least I know for a fact he's coming in prepared as he can be. You know, he's going to have heart. He's going to have all that stuff. Is that enough to overcome this fight? I just don't think so. That's it. I'm not talking crap on him. I'm not saying he doesn't deserve to be here. I don't care. He's here. That's fine. We're going to get more pay-per-view buys. That's going to add another, what would you say, Fred, another 100,000 buys to bring the grand total of this pay-per-view card to, 200,000? 250,000?
True.
Damn, that'd be bad.
You know? I mean, it's still going to be a low pay-per-view card. I mean, with everything happening around it. I mean, you have a boxing match. You have something else is happening this weekend. I forget something else, but college football is starting. You know, it's like there's so many things that are going to take away from this card, and you're just going to see. At least we're going to get more eyes on our sport here. You know, and that's actually the only good thing about this. Still, mustache ain't going nowhere.
Oh shit! Well, hey, we'll find out. Davey, were you gonna say something?
Oh no, go ahead. You're good.
Okay, so a couple things on YouTube here before we keep moving here. Andrew Reed talking about Jesse goes. Andrew Reed says, "Oh, it's a mustache. Thanks, Jesse. Always wondered what that was." Damn.
It's cute.
That's cold. It's cold. Look cold. And Andrew also says, "You lot know too much about wrestling. You should be embarrassed." I mean, I guess. Anyway, 2 million pay-per-view buy. If not, I will. All right, Kasim says that the pay-per-view will make 2 million pay-per-view buys. If not, I will grow a mustache. So I guess Kasim's gonna grow a mustache.
Yeah, that's a guaranteed right there.
Kasim.
Facial hair everywhere. Facial hair is everywhere. All right, let's talk about. Never switching gears, but there was this weird thing. The Ohio Athletic Commission said that they licensed CM Punk because, and this is literally what they said, that his wrestling experience. It's similar to Brock Lesnar's wrestling experience. It was hilarious because CM Punk didn't do anything but what did he say? He did a Kempo, something like that. He did a little bit of Kempo back in the day. Look, Ohio Commission, what the fuck are you guys smoking? But Dave, you were talking about like a controversy. Like, what do you think about this whole thing?
Yeah, well, when they asked the question earlier in the media row, they asked him about this, and he said he quote unquote like, "I'm not too worried about it." He said, "I'm here. I'm ready to fight." Didn't really comment any further on it. I mean, he probably doesn't really know, how that stuff works. I mean, the guy's been training for a year and a half. I mean, he's barely getting the hang of getting his hands wrapped up, you know what I mean, and all the little things. So, but then again, hey, they put him on the show. That couldn't have been a setback. They were definitely going to get him on there and get him licensed. So I think there's been a lot of other shittier fighters that have fought before that have got licenses. CM Punk, I guess, has the WWE background to back him up and get him licensed. But a weird thing that surfaced, so I mean, like I said, coming from the man himself, you guys got to listen to the interview. He really just doesn't give a shit about that. He's focused on the fight pretty much.
Yeah, definitely. And then let's talk about the main event of this card, Stipe versus Overeem. Are we all picking Overeem, or am I the only one picking Stipe? Is anybody else picking Stipe?
Nope.
Really?
Unfortunately.
God damn, I'm on my own like for everything.
Okay.
I'll go Stipe.
I don't know about
you.
everybody else.
I'm going Stipe.
Oh. You're abandoning your crew there.
Yeah, I know Alistair's pretty much, I mean, he's done all he can. It's the last shot for him. He's got to come through with that win, but I think Stipe, I mean, Alistair can say what he wants about Stipe partying and doing this and that. I think Stipe's he's going to crack him, and Alistair, I mean, he's always been chinny. He's been knocked out how many times in the UFC? I mean, it's a win-win situation for the UFC, though. If Alistair does win, Fred made a point about it, they're finally going to cash in on him and have some big fights lined up with the Reem, but I think Stipe in his backyard getting put away, I don't see that happening now that I think it all the way through, because, I mean, I know the Reem has fucking dedicated his life to this training camp. Don't get me wrong. And I think we're going to have an exciting, possibly a decision 5-rounder, but I could see somebody getting finished early in the night. But, hey, I'm going Stipe with you, Eddie. I think Stipe gets it done probably in the 3rd or 4th round.
I'll tell you what, this is going to be probably a very boring decision, because look at his last couple fights. Overeem has become more of a cerebral fighter because he knows he's chinny. He knows he has to be very careful and cautious going into these fights. I don't think we're going to see a very exciting fight at all. I think we're going to see Overeem just kind of, doing his little plotting, moving around, just peppering Stipe with shots. And Stipe's he'll rush, but he rushes in only spurts. And I think Overeem's going to be able to stop him from doing that. Plus, Stipe really doesn't like to use his wrestling, which is what someone was alluding to earlier, that they hope he doesn't try to do a boxing match with him. And I think that's what Stipe is going to end up trying to do initially. Initially, he's going to just try to stand in there, try to trade with him a little bit, try to hit that chin. And I think Overeem's he's a smarter fighter now. I think he's more determined to win this fight, and I think it's just going to be a boring fight of just two guys kind of circling and kind of peppering each other from the outside. I kind of think that this is going to be one of those 5-round heavyweight decision fights that we're all going to really hate.
It's possible, man. All right, we got we're at about an hour here. Before we wrap it up, anybody have anything they want to bring up?
Yeah, hey, motherfucker, I want to give my opinions on the main event, cocksucker.
All right, then give your opinion. Dude, it was quiet for literally like 10 seconds, motherfucker. You didn't say shit.
Hey, Jesus fucking Christ, you jumped on it fucking in a split second. Listen,
I know what happened, Fred. You were thinking about how sad you're going to be once you lose that beard, right?
Oh, listen, the sad part for you boys is I'm better looking without it, so it doesn't really matter. Listen, what did Stipe do to Mark Hunt?
Took him down and hit him 500 times.
Oh, yeah.
More to the point, what he did was he used a very smart game plan against Mark Hunt, which makes me believe that Stipe is not beyond using a game plan. Now, that being said, what is the most probable way that Stipe loses this fight?
Knockout?
Come on, you motherfuckers know the sport. Come on. By trying to bang with Overeem.
Yeah, bang with knockout. Yeah.
That's the way that he can lose, is if he tries to play with fire and strike with Overeem.
Right.
So I think that he will try to briefly strike with Overeem, but only to set up the takedowns. He's going to want to tire him out, and he's going to want to try to control him, similar to how he did Mark Hunt. Problem is, Overeem is a lot better of a defensive wrestler and a grappler overall than Mark Hunt. And I do not think that Stipe will be able to out-grapple and hold him down. And I think that Overeem's going to win, man. Here is a different question, though. I think Overeem will win the belt, and then what the fuck, right? The heavyweight belt plays hot potato like it always does.
Yeah.
Before we wrap up the show, let me pose a question to you guys. On a level of interest, where does the heavyweight division rank for you guys, first to last?
Yeah.
Pretty low. Pretty low. I'm assuming most of you guys pretty low on the interest scale.
Yeah, I mean the belt everyone wants to see. The 170, 155, 145. Those are the fights that everyone.
Right.
I mean, even 185, but still those three main ones. But I would say heavyweight's under 205. You know what I mean?
Right. It's probably the least exciting weight division for most people, right?
Yeah.
I will pose a different view on that. I think that the heavyweight division is one of the most interesting divisions in the sport. And I'll tell you why. Because the belt does change so much. I do not think that Stipe or Overeem is our guy yet. I don't even know if he's fighting right now. The John Jones of heavyweight.
Right.
You know what I mean? Heavyweight is very interesting because nobody has dominated it yet, but somebody will. Eventually, we will get our heavyweight GSP or our heavyweight Anderson Silva. It will happen eventually, and I'm kind of waiting for that. This is filler right now. Maybe Overeem wins, and then he loses it to Verdum, and then maybe Kane gets it. And maybe it's our boy. Who do you always want to talk about, David? Ngannou? However you pronounce that fucking big prick's last name?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, get that guy
a fight already, eventually get a guy. We're going to eventually get a guy, a charismatic big heavyweight that's a bad motherfucker, and I think that will make waiting for that makes the heavyweight division very exciting for me. Like eventually, we're going to get somebody that's going to make that division exciting as fuck. Brock Lesnar almost was that guy. He wasn't quite that guy, but almost. And you see how fucking popular he was. You know what I'm saying? Like the WWE thing helped, but him just being a massive human and being that big heavyweight, like heavyweight's going to be very exciting. It's a little lackluster now because the talent's not right yet, but there's going to be some exciting shit coming through heavyweight eventually.
Yeah, and also adding to that too, guys, don't forget we got, Fabricio Verdum and Travis Brown. So I wanted your guys' take on who do you think is pretty much, lined up for that next shot? Do you think it's Kane or it's the winner of Travis and Fabricio? I mean, yeah, we talked about it a couple times before, but I see Kane is getting the next shot. Honestly, that's my honest opinion.
Look, unless the Verdum Brown fight ends in a ridiculously spectacular fashion, Kane's lined up because he finished the shit out of Travis Brown.
Crashed.
So, I mean, yeah. So, but at the same time, when you get Kane booked in any fight, especially a title fight, you better have a backup fucking training at the same time because that dude is just begging to breathe the wrong way and break fucking something. So yeah, it sucks to say, but it is what it is with Kane.
I gotta agree with Fred. I'm interested in the heavyweight division, but I think the real problem with the heavyweight division is it doesn't get defended that often. I think that's the problem with the heavyweight division at this point is we don't get to see it showcased as often as other titles. I think one of the most exciting pay-per-view cards they had was an all-heavyweight card they had a couple years ago, if you guys remember, where it was just pretty much the whole main event was just heavyweights just throwing leather and knocking each other out. I mean, that was a crazy event. I was there personally, live for that event, and it was great. It showcased the whole division, basically. You know, and I think that's kind of what they need. I would almost think they need, like, a tough season of, like, you know, these really, really well-known heavyweights to kind of build stars, because I think I think we've always talked about this. We're running out of stars in the heavyweight division, and we're not really building anymore. I mean, what are we talking about? Arlovsky, you know, Roethlisberger or whatever, or no, Rothwell, right? Ben Rothwell.
Yeah.
You know, he's off for a little bit. I mean, he kind of had a little bit of that personality, and the other guy that I kind of, Dos Santos. Yeah, I mean, you know, again, like, we could pose a bunch of guys, but then we could always say, something's wrong with this guy. You know, he doesn't have the personality, or he just doesn't have the skill set right to really beat all these guys. And I agree with Fred. I think we're waiting for that one guy to really shine, kind of like Randy Couture when he came back to the heavyweight division initially. If you remember that, the excitement behind that was amazing because we knew what he was bringing to the table. So I don't know. I think I kind of feel like Kane could be that guy. He just doesn't fight often enough. We don't see him often enough. We don't see. Again, I just don't think we see the heavyweight division showcased enough to be able to get as excited as other divisions.
Yeah,
definitely. All right. And just real quick note because I just saw this on Twitter. Check this shit out. Guess who's coming out of retirement for the heavyweights? Shane Carwin. Shane Carwin is officially out of retirement. Yeah. Out of retirement, but he's also out of the UFC. He is no longer with the UFC. He's going to be here, let me read his little statement thing that he fucking put up on the Underground.
Okay. Quickly, while you're reading that, I'm going to show you. You guys want to know who I think the future of the heavyweight division is?
Here we go.
In this little gym. Right here. Check it out. This guy.
John Jones.
He comes back. This is the face. This is what you're going to see.
What about the Black Beast?
That's it. Oh, man, fuck the Black Beast.
All right, so here's what Carwin says, and he put this on the Underground. It says, as many of you know, I recently decided to come out of retirement. I asked my management team at Ingrained Media to help chart a course. This led to reviews of my contract and conversations with Joe Silva and the UFC's legal team. We decided mutually that my value and what I bring to the heavyweight division will be better utilized elsewhere. I am now a free agent. I look forward to freely speaking with other MMA promotions. The heavyweight division has a lot of great fights, and not all of them are in the UFC, and so on and so forth. So here's the thing. Shane Carwin wants to fight again. Here's the problem. Listen. Shane Carwin took a shit ton of damage in his career, and he's not, in my opinion, not physically able to fight. He's just going in there for a money grab, and I think Risen's calling his name. But Fred, what are you going to say?
Just quickly, I know we got to wrap the show up, guys. In a nutshell, this is the heavyweight division's problem.
Yep.
Shane Carwin is a fucking 176 years old with a horrible fucking back and knees. We need young guys that would have been playing football 5 years ago to come into MMA instead. Young, big, huge, athletic guys that can fucking destroy other human beings. Fucking Shane Carwin's probably fucking worse off than Tito Ortiz is at this point physically.
Physically, probably, yeah. But I mean,
I guess Bellator picked up a new heavyweight, huh?
You know what? I think he'll go to Rizin before he goes to Bellator because Rizin's not going to test him anywhere near what anybody else is going to test him.
Neither is Bellator, man. Look at how Bellator does it. They do the IQ test basically, and if not, look at Bobby Lashley. They just put him on Indian reservations where it's just like whatever.
No testing,
I still don't get how that guy gets away with it every fucking time. He's so huge, and he's like, yeah, it's natural. Yeah, I'm sure it fucking is. I'm fucking sure it is, dude. All right.
And Bellator's had bad luck with main events, so they better be careful who they book on these main events. I know they have the Koreshkov and Diego Lima booked for Israel as well, too, to be on the Bellator topic. But no luck for main events in the Bellator banner, though. None so whatsoever at all.
Yeah, well, they're gonna try with Henderson or Hendo and Benson Henderson.
You know what?
And
I got it. Dada 5000 against Shane Carwin. Bam.
I was gonna say some fucked up shit, but go. Sorry, I'll take it back. Anyway, all right. Well, that's gonna do it for us tonight. Shout out to McGrognan, who always comes on here. Minions on here. Fang, Andrew Reed, Mike Jarves, Jody always watches these things. We're watching these. Kasim, who was very active on the comments, and anyone else that watches it, we appreciate it. You can follow Jesse at Spawat1983. Fred is at Kirby_MMA. Dave's over at Dave's MMA Brief. Yeah. And I'm at Law31. So, well, you guys have a wonderful night. Thanks for joining us, and we'll catch you guys in the next one.